It is the Shot Quality Bets SQ Live BetCast. I am Justin Perry. I am, of course, here with none other than Alec Musa. We are live. Well, not really. We are recording live to show you a special episode today of SQ Live BetCast. And you might be wondering why. Have you seen the college basketball slate for Thursday? Musa, how many games do we got?
Like 11, I think,
No,
at best.
7. I'm pretty sure it's 7.
Well, if we're counting Mayville State against South Dakota State.
We are not. We are not counting Mayville State. We are talking about Division I basketball games where there are going to be live betting opportunities. We like to try to target that 7 p.m. Eastern hour where there is usually a good amount of games. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 7:45 on the average is going to be a very fun time for us. But today, not really the case. So we are here, and what we're going to do for our second ever episode, coming on a dud of a day, we're going to walk you through everything you need to know. You've maybe never used the SQ Live Score Center. Maybe you've never even seen it before. This is the episode for you. We're going to tell you everything about how to understand what's going on here. You saw us use it on air, scrambling around 11 games at once on Tuesday. I hit 13 out of my 17 bets. 2 of them lost by half a point. Moose, I think you went 5-1 or something?
4-1 or 5-1. There was one loss. There was multiple wins. That much I know.
Regardless, it was very clear without much extra research, just using expectation data live against the actual score was a profitable endeavor. We've seen it do this in our trials before even starting the show. We didn't just say, hey, let's give it a swing live. No, we've been practicing. We've been looking into it. The guys on the team, everyone at ShotQuality has been using this tool, excited about it. And that's what told us we could feel confident coming up here and doing it. So another good example. We're going to probably run into a few bad examples. Don't get too hyped. We're still betting small live because it's a tougher market. But we're going to talk through every single thing you need to know. We're going to take probably around 30 minutes today, maybe a little less depending on how long it takes. First things first, Moose, we're going to go into what really shot quality is. So if you're new to shot quality, what we do with the data, or how we get it really, is we take the location of every single player on the court using computer vision technology to analyze raw video feeds. So we have trained programs, software, whatever you want to call it, to look at the game of basketball, watch the game, literally record where every person is on the floor and be able to measure that. We know where the camera is positioned. We understand the angles that it's pointed at, so we can calculate distances, understand heights, all these really cool things, and get a good sense of the quality of a shot based on how open a player was, and then by also identifying the individual ability of each player. So instead of saying, oh, well, when any player takes a 3 from this position, it's worth that much. We know how good each player is at shooting that specific shot based on their history using shot quality. And then we also know how good the defender is. So certain defenders get extra boosts or reductions based on if they are historically good at defending certain things. So all of this gives us a very unique way of approaching the game of basketball, and you can see it sort of live, right? We have this graphic up here. The difference here, this is a very famous Kemba Walker shot, MSG Big East Championship back in the day when it was presented by Reese's tie game, cardiac Kemba at the top of the key. Shot quality understands everywhere that every single person was, literally their coordinates, their speed in feet per second. So this is not just some guessing game. We know how every player is moving at the time of every shot and use it to calculate how effective of a look, the quality of the shot. So this is all done, using a lot of data, and we're really proud of what has, come of it. Everything's shown to be very, very accurate. Things are more likely to progress to their shot quality expectancies than they are to their efficiency averages by a very good deal. We've done a lot of research. There's a lot of proof backing it up. If you're interested in seeing some of the independent studies, definitely shoot us a message. We're happy to show you the research. It's been really cool. Moose, I don't know, what are you, as someone who's used it for betting, used it for analysis, make videos on TikTok at ShotQuality Bets, What's your like feel for all of this? How do you like to boil it down when you're just sort of introducing someone to shot quality?
Yeah, for me, I'm someone who wants to really understand what's going on, but I'm also not like the smartest dude in the world. I'll be the first to admit it. Some of this stuff can be complicated. Just
Crazy,
like
yeah.
it can overwhelm you for sure when you look at just the stats that we're dealing with. But what I've started to realize is there's so many variables that go into each shot that really make this so unique. Like you even brought up, just it's not just this guy shoots a three, so it's worth this much. We account for his 3-point shooting ability as well as the defender's closeout and things as important as percentage chance of offensive rebounds based on shot type and shot distance. So if it's a deep three, what the chances are of actually getting the rebound on the offensive side of the ball. All that stuff is cooked into each individual shot taken in a game to spit out what we think the shot quality score on that possession should be. And I mean, it doesn't get much more sweet than that when you're trying to make a bet, whether it's a pregame or live bet, using the data that we have, for sure.
It's definitely really unique. And of course, what sort of happens, right? There's like a whole web that from shot quality data, how it gets used, right? So shot quality then provides that data to a lot of different places, and shot quality bets is one of those internal offshoots that we then repurpose for fans, consumers, and bettors for getting sharper analysis, whether it's through looking at the raw stats that we have on the site. We actually just added some brand new stats. If you've taken a look recently, we have player analysis, and we also have regression analysis is now on the page. So a lot of cool stuff is coming, and more data being added almost every other week, it feels like. So we're growing and growing, bringing more and more data over from the base site where we used to house everything. Now everything is literally shotqualitybets.com, whether you're a fan, whether you're just here to have a fun companion app and try to do some magic and predict for your friends what's going to happen in the game you're watching. You can do all of that here. So let's get into how that happens, right? Because if you watched the first episode, you saw we had what we call the ShotQuality Score Center up. And if you want to get access to the ShotQuality Score Center, you can get specific games when you're a standard member. So when you sign up for the picks, you get essentially island games. And how we define that is games that are at a unique start time, right? So if there's a 7:30 game and there's at least one other, you're not getting any games at 7:30. But if there's a 11 p.m. tip and it's the only one, what we want to have is that, when there's only one game on, you can use shot quality bets. Anyone can, right? So when you have a late night game, when there's a day game, shot quality bets has live score center for all members. And then if you want the big slates, the full Saturdays, like that's where you need, the premium to have this full onslaught of massive slates, massive data, to be able to take advantage of what you saw us be able to do in the first episode. So that's sort of how it's balancing out. Usually there's going to be a good menu of games because games do start at weird times. And when there's a lot of stuff on, you don't really need the companion for a fan. And then if you're a serious bettor, there's obviously value to premium. So yeah, we're going to also try to start including the pick of the day. So if you're on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel where you're watching this. You see my face every morning. And on the pick of the day, we're going to start to make that available for Shot Quality Live as well. Probably for
26
free.
and 12. 26.
Yeah, 26 and 12, man. I mean, I don't really even know how I've been doing it. I do not normally bet that well, but like the shot quality data, bringing it in every single day, using the data to back it up on top of the projections. It's been money. It's been money. Musa has been, maybe dealing a little bit more with these live bets. So excited to sort of hear some of his experience with it. We're definitely going to dive into all that a little bit more, but let's take a look. So I'm sitting here on player stats. Let's take a look at the NBA basketball score center. So when you go here, when you're a member, and this is again with the premium look right now, we can look at it through a standard member eyes as well if we really want to, but you're just going to see a little bit less of everything. And what you really want to get to know is just the interface. So I think it's just important to see how it looks. So this is what it kind of looks like when you go forward. You see a very basic projection of the game, nothing too special, maybe just a little bit of a different display, some game win percentages. But what we're really interested in talking about is what it looks like when games are live, which is the same it looks like when they've finished. So we're going to use examples on finalized games because what we care about is really just what each game card is showing. These update every single minute, sometimes faster than what some of the ESPN Plus streams offer, honestly. And we're going to talk through each one of these data points and tell you what you're looking at. And hopefully that helps everybody understand how to use this product. So Musa, why don't you hit us off? How do you use the difference between just shot quality score and regular score?
Well, for me, I like to look at big discrepancies, but I mean, the score that's presented, the top row is the score that was scored in the game. UAB 93, Alabama A&M 82. There's nothing much more to that other than that it's just giving you an updated score, whether it says final up there in the blue or we're talking 15 minutes left in the second half. The score is the score. Where really I get my value is that shot quality score and the PPS, which means points per shot, and the shot quality points per shot. Those three rows right there tell you really the truth of what is going on during that game at the moment. Here you see UAB scored about what they were projected to score, but now we're looking at Alabama A&M scoring 13 more points than expected based off the shots they took, which we just talked about, which is shot quality, points per possession or points per shot, the 90 variables cooked into it, the data, the AI, the cameras, where the defenders are, the whole kit and caboodle, all in one is right there. And it tells you how teams are either overperforming, underperforming, or in the case of UAB, right where they really should be.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly spot on. It is the ultimate data point for us at Shot Quality. The Shot Quality Score cooks in all those stats. It takes into account everything we're talking about and gives you like a final expectation number. So you can see that Alabama A&M pretty drastically overperformed. 0.15 points per shot essentially means like every 6 shots you're scoring 0.9 points more than expected. So that can add up over a lot of possessions, and there are a lot of possessions in basketball. So you have to assume that 60 possessions, they could have very easily scored 10 more points than expected, and that's exactly what they did, almost 13. So look, if you lost a bet on UAB, this is the type of stuff where you can, when the game's over, come to qualify it. Now, imagine this was a live score, right? And you see a team like this where, there's a mass discrepancy between the actual PPS and the shot quality PPS on one side, but not on the other. This is where we would take a bet. So like assume if teams played 2 games back to back and this was halftime and you saw a score where one team was massively overperforming and the other team wasn't, we would be here sitting on the live show taking UAB. This is what it would look like to say value on UAB. And when you get that at the end of the game, that means UAB maybe should have performed better. But it also means it probably was a scenario where maybe they didn't, or well, it's not that UAB was supposed to perform better. My bad. It's actually that Alabama A&M was supposed to perform much worse. So I should be very clear because that arrow is pointing down. And you can see it's not 100%, fully easy. The directionality of my talking here, Moose, is pretty is the same. But what's important for us is to really understand what we're like looking at. So you want to really, I think this number might be the most important one out of all of them to me, because that is the number that has the addition and subtraction done for you. And you can just look for magnitudes of this decimal while you scroll the board to really understand where there are big discrepancies, right? Because the up and down arrow happens no matter what. And yes, you can use that to maybe find directionalities. Like let's say we go over this Denver BYU and assume it's live. You would say, okay, well, you'd probably want to bet on Denver. You'd probably want to take their expected to improve, expected to decline. And so I use the PPS arrows and the subtext difference between the shot quality PPS as my guiding light. When I'm using this, when we're on the show, that's what I'm doing. I am sitting here scrolling this, looking for either discrepancies. So I want either like one team pointing one way, the other team pointing the other way, and then you bet on the green. right? So Dartmouth massively outperforming expectations, scoring 63, actually expected to score 50. You'd want to bet against them. You take the green side. That's easy. We got that right, Moose. Like, that's a nice one. But then also, like, if they're both in the same direction, well, now we're talking totals. So I think, like, when you get to like Little Rock UTSA, this is a game that I had yesterday. I took it on a park walk. Really nice win for me. My only full unit play of the day yesterday, and thank God. But no, I mean, so like, talk to me a little bit about that, Moose. I don't want to talk too much.
Yeah, no, I always look for the arrows. And for me, it's the difference. Like, you can go off percentages for sure. The difference between the points per shot and the shot quality points per shot, or whatever it needs to be.
Yeah, it's just a raw subtraction, I think.
Yeah. What I also like to do too is even the UAB game. Like, 93 points is a lot of points in a 40-minute basketball game. You would like to think, okay, they most likely overperformed. Well, they barely did. Like, Eric Gaines had 15 points. Javion Davis shot lights out from the field, like 70% from the field. Those were good shots that they were expected to make. So if you see UAB next game and are thinking they're playing a team that has high tempo and you want to take the over, well, last game UAB hunted good shots and got good shots. So it's definitely something, if you're going to take the over, it's not like that shot quality score is 65 and they just shot lights out at their home gym or something like that. It's more so they found good shots that they are good at taking, because that's the variables that we look into game in and game out. This is what they're good at. They have good percentages taking these shots, and they hit those shots. And more importantly, they found those shots. Now you can also go look at Alabama A&M defensively. Are they good in transition, the half court? What is UAB good at? Was it just a bad matchup? Or was it just UAB is cooking right now? And even if you go to a team page or whatever it is, you get all this data if you want to make a pregame pick. Now, me, I'm a live better till the day I die in the year 2023, 2024. But
You're
for
in the right
me,
place.
it's something like that where I see this and I go, whoever UAB plays next, they have a good chance to drop 90 again, because they know what they're doing.
Yeah, I think, it definitely can solidify your take on how teams play against other types of teams. Like, okay, UAB is going to develop good shots against weaker teams, and you shouldn't get scared off of betting on them to like cover 17 or 20 points against a bad team, because they can do it. They didn't here. It was only like 11, which is a little scary when you lay 17 and you are asked to do so again against another team next week. But yeah, shot quality helps you trust it. And you get into a lot of good stuff. And the cool thing is, again, if you watch the first episode you saw, we can go into individual games. And again, so I'm going to say it like 2 more times while we're doing this for the next 10, 15 minutes here. This is we're recording a little earlier, so there's no live games right now. We're putting it out a little later. We're going to do a live premiere. We're going to be hanging out, watching with you in the comments. You can chat with Moose, say what's up, and I'll be there too. But you can go into the individual games. But right now, it's going to show final games. It's going to show what it looks like when it's over. But we're treating it like it's live, because nothing changes, just where the data's at, right? The relationship between actual and expected is still the same idea that you want to hunt for. As Musa was so nice to use that word. It's what we're hunting for. But you can also get into these individual box scores and watch one game very tightly if you don't want the full like trader vibes where you're watching the whole slate and looking for different points. Like, maybe you're actually just watching the game. Maybe you're just a huge UAB fan or an Alabama A&M fan, and you want to just sort of see what's going on, understand how the game's working. Maybe this is, you want to take a live bet opportunity on one specific game, wait for the perfect time, not really be firing into the wind, which a lot of fun. We're going to do it for the entertainment value. Moose is pretty damn good at it. He's got me winning. This thing helped us win, and we're going to have fun with it. But if you want to be like super hyper targeted on one game, we got you. And so this is that view. And Moose, how do you, when you're maybe looking at one, what are you looking at? There's not really like much live player props. We can handle that. We have the box score. We have good and bad and average shots taken, as well as like what percentage of shots teams are taking from where. So 50% at the rim here for UAB, while, Alabama A&M was probably resorting to taking 40% threes because they were losing. But you can literally see who's hot, who's cold, what the score was, shot quality, points per possession or score. And the emojis help you sort of understand everything in a minute. So what's your go-to? I mean, I kind of like just literally sitting there and watching to see maybe who's hot, who's in, when the cold players are coming out, like when I can get in at the right time.
Yeah, it's the year 2023. Emojis are a universal language at this point.
Oh, yeah.
You see those
Modern
emojis?
hieroglyphics,
Yeah, exactly. We're the modern day Egyptians. But no, like even yesterday, I was watching the UNLV game, which, don't want to brag too much for shot quality play of the day, plus 13 win us outright. But yeah, no, when they were cooking second half, and it was cool watching Kalen Boone, the former Oklahoma State Cowboy, shoot 2 threes from the parking lot and hit them. And he's shooting 28% from deep this year. I can almost guarantee his name has some ice on it if we went to that box. Yeah, he played great. Don't get me wrong. Like, he's a good basketball player. Him and his brother are very, very talented, well-rounded college basketball players. But when we're talking Steph Curry range and hitting it, like turning around, pointing at the crowd, where is he at? I stand correct. 11. He had 10 points, and we gave him 11. Good for him. And his brother had 18 of 20. Caleb was also cooking down low.
Yeah.
And Caleb
was on fire. Caleb scored 25, was expected to score 18. That's significant. Like scoring
which makes sense too, because a lot of his scoring was down low on Ryan Kalkbrenner, who, if you are not too familiar with the Creighton Blue Jays, probably the best defender in the Big East. Yeah. So yeah, I could see why it was 18 compared to 25. So it's cool to look at stuff like that, as well as shots taken is pretty important as well. Whenever I take overs or unders live, I do caution a little bit with refereeing and free throw rate. That's also something I like to look at, because some refs, like, they'll have a quick whistle in the first half and the fouls will start to become an issue. And like Justin said, you want to see who's coming in, who's coming out. If someone's got 3 fouls heading into the second half, they're more likely to sit longer when they come out in the first 20 minutes or at some point after the 15-minute marker, whatever it is. So there's so much you can dissect here. And it's very interesting and you can also go back and look at stuff. Like, even us looking right now, we see that Creighton was ice cold, and our base Twitter account tweeted something about that. They just struggled from deep.
Yeah, they did. They actually developed a lot of open looks. So to lose this, to not be able to get it done was a little surprising. Shot quality did expect a Creighton win, but that's what's going to happen when they shoot cold. And that's what we talked about. That's how we got it done. We would have covered that 13 probably anyway, even if they weren't cold. But good win and good game example to use. But again, the big thing here is like understanding it live. Like, if you were coming in and you see Creighton cold and you see UNLV hot, shot quality would say, like, you probably take Creighton to come back to their normal, and UNLV to come back to their expected normal. So outperforming them by 17 is definitely not easy to do. They shot really hot. They had a lot of players on fire. Caleb Boone, one of them, Cottrell, again, 8 points on 3 actuals. So some tough shots just going down. That's a pretty significant difference. And then Trey Alexander not having his best game. So there's a lot that goes into this. Basketball, anything can happen. And that's what shot quality is here to help you understand, is like what's happening on the floor versus what is just being counted by the default method of understanding a game, which is the score. That's how, when we tune into a game, no one's like, how good have their shots been? What shots are they taking? Like, to when they want to understand a game, they're like, what is the score? What has happened? Who is scoring? How many points does somebody have? We don't really talk about, like, what's their expected efficiency. We aren't really at that place in college basketball. And so thinking that way can get you an edge. It's just proving itself over and over again. So yeah, this is what it looks like to have the one game view. And again, updates live right behind, usually a TV feed, an ESPN feed. It's a little bit different than final shot quality. So there are sometimes discrepancies between a live score and what happens after we get the full game data in. We are not fully processing like all that location data in like 5 seconds. we boiled down the process and created a lesser, like a less heavy data process, or like, I guess, feed for it to conduct the score evaluation on. So there's a little bit missing. Some specific like positioning data when you're doing it rapid just is not possible to get in there that fast. We have consistently tested live data. It's actually been really, really strong in terms of what it's doing, but there are not as many like data points as are in the final calculation that's released usually 10 to 12 hours later. Just good to know. Just good to be as clear as possible with what you're actually dealing with. But it's still a shot quality score. It just has less data than what, a non-live shot quality score has. So you got to understand the stipulations and the limitations of what we're dealing with in order to use it best. And no one's trying to, keep anything here. It's not easy to even have this data in the first place. So we're really happy with it. It's definitely been really working well. Everything lines up very well with final shot quality scores. But good to just be very upfront about definitions and what people are getting here. Again, we've talked about access. If you're interested in this, shot quality members do all get some games. Full premium members get access to a lot more, guys. I mean, it's just the truth. You get the full suite of data. You get every shot quality score for every single game. Historical shot quality scores back to like the minute we started doing them almost 3 or 4 years ago. So there's a lot of upside if you're really serious about this stuff. There is some really good value in here, and not, there's edges to be found. It's still new. I think that's the coolest part about it. So yeah, Musa, let's just sort of wrap this up by talking about, I think maybe the most important part about it is sort of like I'll go next. I mean, we've sort of beat around the bush a little bit, but how the optimal use, like how do you really say this is the best way to bet the product? Like, what's your go-to strategy? Are you sitting on the individual pages? Are you looking for totals? Are you looking for spreads? Do you like to bet on teams that are underperforming? Or are you fading teams that are overperforming? Like, what's been your recipe for success so far?
Well, it's been a continued trial and error process for me, because I've been, like we said in the first time we did this on Tuesday when we were live, I've been in the trenches trying to figure this out. Even this Utah State Santa Clara, we can start with a winner I had yesterday, so that's nice. Utah State in Santa Clara, it was either a 1-point game or tied. I know there was some issue with the free throw late, but the game was tight. Yet shot quality had Utah State outperforming what they put up in the first half, and Santa Clara underperforming what you talked about, 1 arrow up, 1 arrow down. And it was by quite a large margin. It wasn't 2 points. It wasn't 3 points. It wasn't 4 points. I want to say it was 10 points worth of value on a game that was really a pick 'em. You can see it there. The shot quality
12 points underperformance.
45 to 31. That's a pretty big difference when it comes to a tie game. And it was even a huge difference in the second half, even though Utah State barely pulled it off. But then again, late, Santa Clara was able to hit 3 straight buckets under a minute to keep it within that, like, let's foul, score. It could have easily been an Aggies win by 6 or 7. Regardless, it hit every line. It worked.
Right.
That's something I look for, something with a very big difference. It's not huge from the Utah State standpoint. Like, they scored 43 and they were expected to score 45. They're right where they needed to be. But Santa Clara overperforming by 12 points. That's a good amount of possessions right there. That's something I look for sure. Now, when it comes to favorites and dogs, it can be a little bit tougher. I know you hit someone like plus 40 the other day on our first live game. I know Denver was a good one yesterday. They were supposed to be about the same score against BYU, yet you're getting like 9 points at half. Chicago State won outright last night. Again, getting 10 points at half, but they're projected to be the same score at half. And again, I know you brought it up. You should expect the better team to win the half in both shot quality and real score later on. But look at that, 30. Like, they scored 37 points in the first.
There was
half.
like nothing. Shot quality said that Chicago State should have won that game.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
about it. That's incredible. Honestly, we may have to go fire off a tweet, because that's like, it wasn't a fluke.
Mm-hmm.
Chicago State did it. They didn't get lucky.
Oh yeah,
Western State was hotter than expected. They overperformed in the first half, and that's why they were winning. Chicago State was expected to be winning. They were expected to win both halves. So really through and through.
Yeah, and I mean, I took Alabama State as well against LSU. It was about tied, and they ended up losing by 20. So it's
Right.
like, you know what? Sometimes you're not going to win them all. This isn't, some type of foolproof system that's going to hit 100% of the time, but there's value in these spreads at half. I personally like to wait till half for about a minute or two remaining in the first half, just so we can collect all that data and we can see how teams are performing as the game goes on, and not just their starting five, but their sixth man, seventh, eighth man down in the rotation, how they perform with the second unit, whatever it needs to be. And then if it's the totals, now I'm looking for 2 arrows down. Is there enough value in there to take it? Murray State, Mississippi State was a really good one. Like with 14 minutes left, they were cooking to open up the second half. I hope to slow down a little bit. Hit by the hook, mind you, but hit nonetheless. So I look at a lot of things, but no, I definitely like to have the whole page open, and I like to wait until, so let's say games start at 5. I'm not going to 5 o'clock Arizona time. I'm not going to be there at 5 p.m. refreshing. I'll 5:25, 5:20. I'll go in. I'll check it out, see what's happening, see what the numbers are like. And then I know you're going to bring up situations I like to avoid. There's some teams that have burnt me in the past that it's a personal thing for me. I probably won't bet Rice or Louisville anytime soon. But other than that, man, I'm always looking for the arrows and just big discrepancies in real score and shot quality.
Yep. I agree. I think there's a little bit of a sweet spot. I think, you definitely want to be a bit careful for the teams that are bad. And when I say that, I mean like really bad. So like,
if you want to go to the LSU Alabama State one, that one I wasn't close on that one. I bet that the same time I bet Chicago State last night. One ended up winning outright. The other one ended up losing by 20.
Yeah, and it's like, when we were on the show on Tuesday, you were talking a little bit about Alcorn. I said no. I said no. I said don't take it. And I said that because Alcorn is just on the unpredictable side in terms of how bad they are. And I'm pretty sure I was correct to tell you to skip, right? Like we should have taken Maryland, if anything. They
I believe it
absolutely dominated the entire way home. They didn't slow down. Maryland's a team that's like ferocious in terms of like trying to score as many points on these two teams because they're probably hoping they can get a bubble bid. Like that's probably their hope. If they have a really good season or unless they have some type of magical run. So, they ran up the score. And I think against bad teams, when you have like scenarios where you're maybe playing a bad team against a power school that might be in the hunt like that, there's little tips and tricks that I think you can maybe learn to stay away from the scenarios that look promising, but that actually aren't. So try to find teams that are like, in the same like wheelhouse. You want spreads that weren't close. You want to gain closing line value essentially if you want to like really get deep into it. So like, that St. Peter's hit was a big one from the Tuesday show. What did I do? Like I know St. Peter's was favored. They're at home. They're losing. ShotQuality says they should be winning. Like that's a winner. Like that's something where smack the alarm, buy, get in. We have the little graphic come in and it becomes like an official play. Like that's what you want, right? Like you want teams that ShotQuality expects to be winning, the market was expected to be winning, and that like, we can essentially certify our cold, playing well, not hitting their shots, and therefore maybe getting value in the market. More times than not, we think ShotQuality is going to be right about that. And we'll be back. It's been a half an hour or so. We'll be back on Tuesday. We have a good slate. I think Thursday might be a little quiet again. Christmas is around the corner. So there's like some finals happening. It's a little bit of a sticky time to launch.
Once we get into conference play, it's going to turn up for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Look, it's an interesting time to launch a new show. We had a really nice Tuesday. Here with you today, Thursday, doing a little pre-taped episode, which we're about to wrap and say thank you and all that good stuff. But
we're loaded next Thursday, by the way. I just checked. We're good.
Okay, we're good. All right. I love it. Look, we're gonna have another great week. We're gonna be back Tuesday, Thursday, 7:45. Let me give you guys the little ticker here so you can all see it. But Twitter for live streams, YouTube for these episodes. We'll post the video to Twitter. But really appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll be back in the madness, betting like crazy. I think I put 17 bets out in 45 minutes while also running a show. So you're getting to pick every 3 minutes, hang with us Tuesdays, Thursdays. We're hopefully going to keep cashing at like above a 60% rate. It's hard. 30-cent market is not easy to beat.
And I have a rule of thumb for you. You said don't bet on the unpredictable teams. If you can't name a player on the team, probably stay away. Shout out Wesley Cardette Jr. because at least I know him from Chicago State.
Hey, Chicago State, man.
He can play.
Major win. Really cool. College basketball is crazy. They transitively just beat Purdue, right? So it knows no end. And what we get to do around here is see through it. We get this really cool data that doesn't care about results. It doesn't care about if a team got really like lucky. It sees through that and in fact compares it to reality to identify that for you. That's where we all get our edge. That's how we do it live. That's how we do it with our model. That's how we do it with the tools, with luck ratings, with expected efficiencies compared to actual efficiencies, regression stats, all this cool stuff that is more than just a pick service. Of course, if you just want plays, we got it. We got you. Model been doing well. Good month. Good last 30 days. Good last 14 days. A little bit of a rocky start, but that's life. We're back. We're doing well. New shows, daily pick every single morning. Go to Basketball Analysis. Check out articles and blogs for free every single day. Purdue, Arizona showdown. We have a preview for that already out a little early for you. So go click Basketball Analysis. Brett is a great writer. Really excited to have him on. We'll have free pick articles Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So make sure you check that blog. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube. Follow on Twitter. Join the Discord, which is discord.gg/ShotQuality. Super easy. We got everything, man. We are building this up. ShotQuality is here to stay. We'll see you Tuesday. Some live betting coming right your way. That's Alec Musa, my partner in crime. I'm Justin Perry. This is the SQ Live. And we will see you on Tuesday, on every Thursday, 7:45 p.m. Thank you.